What's up, you guys? We're back.
Stepping of their choice.
We're back to another.
That's not an idea, but I mean, that's the world we live in. I'd say it's a lot scarier, for example, to imagine a weapon
Yu-Gi-Oh!
system
stream.
that doesn't have any level of intelligence at all.
We're watching 60 Minutes AI. Pretty good.
It's not a question between smart weapons and no weapons. It's a question between smart weapons and dumb weapons.
Lucky showed us how those so-called smart weapons can be synchronized on Anvil's AI platform. It's called Lattice. Lattice collects data from various sensors and sources, including satellites, drones, radar, and cameras, allowing, he says, the AI to analyze, move assets, and execute missions faster than a human.
If you're having to require the human operator to actually map every single action and say, hey, do this, give that, then this, it would take so long to manage it, you would be better off permanently piloting it. If it's the AI on board all the weapons, it makes it possible to make it so easy.
There's a lot of people that go, oh, AI, I don't know how this costs today, but it's going to go wrong.
I would say that it is something to be aware of, but in the grand scheme of things to be afraid of, there's things that I'm much more terrified of. And I'm a lot more worried about evil people with mediocre advances in technology than AI deciding when it's going to wipe us all.
Lucky says all Anvil's weapons have a kill switch that allow a human operator to intervene if needed. But the Secretary General of the United Nations has called lethal autonomous weapons
Let's go.
politically unacceptable, morally repugnant. When people say to you, look, it's evil, how do you respond to that?
I usually don't bother because if I am going to argue with them, I usually poke it like, okay, so do you think that NATO should be armed with short guns or slingshots? That's certainly worth it. Would you like that? Would you like it if NATO they put these guys sitting typewriters with thousands of countries writing letters to Vladimir Putin begging him to not invade Ukraine? Our entire society exists because of a credible backstop of violence threatened by the United States and our allies all over the world. And thank goodness for it.
It might sound political, but part of Homer Lucky's philosophy is that autonomous weapons ultimately promote peace by scaring adversaries away.
My position has been that the United States needs to arm its allies and partners around the world so that they can be quickly form defense. And nobody wants to step on. Nobody wants to fight them.
In your mind, is it just to have all these things as defense? Or do they have to be supporting others?
They have to believe that you can do something.
At the end of this year, Andrew says it will secure more than $6 billion in government contracts worldwide. When you first came into this space in your tech bag, in a Hawaiian shirt and in football, I don't know. Were you welcome to the room?
There were a very small number of people who welcomed me with open arms, and everyone else thought that I was nuts.
No, it's because there hasn't been a new company in the defense industry in a significant way since the end of the Cold War. For decades, defense contractors called the primes have dominated the industry. Typically, the primes present an idea to the Pentagon. If the Pentagon buys it, the government pays for the company to develop it. Even playing for the budget. When he started Andrew to flip that procurement structure on its head.
The idea of my dad was to build not a defense contractor, but a defense products company.
What's the difference?
Contractors, in general, are paid to do work, whether or not it succeeds. A products company has a very different mentality. You're putting in your own money, you're putting in your own time. My vision was to build a company that would show up not with a PowerPoint describing how taxpayers are going to pay all my bills, but with a working product where all the risk has been baked out. That will work for enough things that you can save our country hundreds of billions of dollars a year.
It may not surprise you that Homer Lucky's father was a car salesman. His mother took on the role of home.
What the fuck are the odds of this fucking having Danny Trinity, bro?
He says he was fascinated by electronics, and a lot of times tinkering in his parents' garage as long as one. By age 19, his tinkering turned into Oculus, the virtual reality company. And at 21, Homer Lucky fulfilled every young founder's dream. He sold Oculus to Facebook for $2 million. And wonder if people raced the covers of magazines. But 2 years later, he was fired from Facebook. Why did you get fired?
Well, everyone's got a different story. But it boils down to I gave $9,000 to a political group that was for Donald Trump and against Hillary Clinton to be a Trump supporter in 2016. You know, this was at the height of the election insanity and derangement in Silicon Valley. And so I think that a lot of people thought back then that you could just fire a Trump supporter.
Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has denied that Lucky was fired for his political views.
What do you think that when you see this tech leader, Mark Zuckerberg, running behind President Trump now at his inauguration?
I am inclined about every single one of them getting coming around to a point of view that is more aligned with the American people broadly, I think is good for the country. I think it is not good for you to have techno corpo elites that are radically out of step with where the American people are.
In 2017, Lucky says he left Silicon Valley with millions of dollars in the bank and a chip on his shoulder.
I was fired at the height of my career. You know, a year around somebody that I was not a one-hit wonder, and that I still had it in me to do big things.
The only website you love was Wix.
For your birds, create more opportunity. It will hire you from here away to make everything yours. Crystallize it. Is the piece that speaks in your face to your face. Keep your site post solutions you where you are and take you where you want to go. Smooth to make, easy to love.
He said they thought about starting companies to learn how to basically or fix the prison system, but ultimately decided to break it into the defense industry.
Have you run into any people who don't take you seriously once you were never meet?
I don't think so. I think I'd go down to the James Bond franchise. Everyone in the military has made James Bond movies, and they all like you. Right? I'm the wacky gadget man. I'm the guy who types on the computer and pushes up my glasses and then gives them a strange thing to help them accomplish their mission.
And this is the laboratory, and was 640,000 square foot headquarters in Costa Mesa, California. It's a mix of high-tech carpentry and robotic engineering. Sign on the floor puts fun at the boss's shoe shorts. But Lucky wanted to show us something off campus. We hopped in his 1985 Humvee. The billionaire told us he also owns a decommissioned Black Hawk helicopter, a 48-crew submarine, and a Navy speedboat. In Dana Point, we took a ride 15 minutes off the coast to see the largest weapon in Andrews Arsenal, this submarine. It's called the Dive XL. It's about the size of a school bus and was autonomously.
We now know how much computer. It's doing it on the brain, on the submarine itself. So Michael to go off and perform some mission with one ball, like go to this target and then sit down and take a signature. And if you see this signature run, if you see this one behind, if you see this one follow it, get to the full on without being detected, without communicating with it.
Ample said that the Dive XL traveled 1,000 miles fully submerged. Australia has already invested $58 billion in the subs to help defend its seas from China. But Andrew's anticipated weapon was closely guarded until May. Hidden inside this hangar, Andrew's unmanned fighter jet called Fury. There's no cockpit, no stick, or rudder because there's no pilot.
The idea is that you're building a robotic fighter jet that is flying with manned fighters and doing what you ask it to do, recommending things to be done, taking risks that you don't want human pilots to take.
Fury represents a big turning point for the company. Andrew was issued by some inside the defense industry as a technical startup until it beats out several of the prime defense contractors to make an unmanned fighter jet for the Air Force. Scheduled to take its first test flight this summer. If selected by the Pentagon, it, like all import products, will be produced in the US.
The war games say we're going to run out of munitions in 8 days and fight with China. If we have to fight Iran and China and Russia all at the same time, we are screwed.
Your version of what Andrew's place is in conflict.
Yep.
How do you view it?
I think what we're going to be doing is first connecting a lot of these systems that otherwise would not have been talking around. We're going to be making large numbers of cruise missiles, large numbers of fighter jets, large numbers of surface and subsurface systems. I guess I would hope that Andrew is making most of the stuff that's being used on day 9, day 10, day 11, day 100. I think a lot of that is going to be coming out of our factories after everything else is left out. Working across teams is tough. Asana and two-handed. Asana AI can spot roadblocks in a single everything on track. That is how it's at. Visit us at asana.com.
When Demis Hassabis won the Nobel Prize last year, he celebrated by playing poker with a world champion of chess. Hassabis loves a game, which is how he became a pioneer of artificial intelligence. The 49-year-old British scientist is co-founder and CEO of AI. Years when chatbots announced a new way. Now, as we reported this past spring, Hassabis and others are chasing what's called artificial general intelligence. A silicon engine as versatile as a human, but with super speed technology. After his Nobel and a night, Dick Jones, he heard back to London to see what's next.
Also invited me and mentioned how we had to understand the world around us. I've always been, since I was a kid, fascinated by the biggest questions. You know, the meaning of life, the nature of consciousness, the nature of reality itself. I've loved reading about all the great scientists who've worked on these problems, philosophers, and I wanted to see if we could advance in the knowledge. And for me, my expression of doing that is to build what I think is the ultimate tool for advancing human knowledge, which is AI.
We sat down in this room 2 years ago, and I wonder if AI is moving faster today than you imagined.
It's moving incredibly fast. I think we are on some kind of exponential curve of improvement. Of course, the success of the field in the last few years has attracted even more attention, more resources, more talent. So that's adding to this exponential progress.
Exponential curve, in other words, straight up.
Yep, straight up and increasing the speed of progress.
Start. We saw the progress
Hello, Scott. It's nice to see you again.
in an artificial companion that can see and hear and chat about anything. Early chatbots learned only the internet. A cat called Astra also takes in the word. Do we call her Sue?
Good question. I'm not sure we all know the answer yet.
Igor Shu is product manager for Project Astra, an app in a new generation of chatbots that interpret the world with their own eyes. We challenged Astra with virtual paintings we chose and showed to Astra for the first time.
This is July 5th, from 1942.
How about this one?
That is The Virtual Charity by El Greco. That painting is Automat by Edward Hopper.
The person in the painting, what emotion is she exhibiting?
The subject in the painting appears pensive and contemplative, her expression suggesting a sense of solitude.
Can you create a story around this picture?
It's a sunny evening in the city. Tuesday, perhaps. The woman, perhaps named Eleanor, sits alone in the diner. She is feeling melancholy due to the uncertainty of her future, and the weight of unfulfilled dreams. The student freezes in time, only the flow of ideas moving onward.
That line, only the flow of ideas moving onward? Wish I'd written that. And did we hear a limit to Astra's patience? What was that fictional conversation about?
The story I I imagine Eleanor and a friend talked about their shared dream, the challenge of new systems.
Something about the way you said "ah" made me wonder if you were getting bored.
I apologize if my tone came across that way. My aim is always to engage thoughtfully.
And she said, "Well, I'm sorry if you don't like my tone."
Well, you see,
What's happening?
well, that's interesting. That's again a challenge with these systems as they act in the moment with the context that's around them, and that may have never been tested before.
He's often surprised because AI programs are sent out on the internet to learn for themselves. They can return later with unexpected skills.
So we have what kind of capabilities these systems will have, continuously what we try to build into the architectures. But at the end of the day, how it learns, what it picks up from the data is part of the training of these systems. We don't program that in. It learns like a human being will learn. So new capabilities or competencies can emerge from that training situation.
You understand how that would worry people.
Of course, it's the duality of these types of systems, that they're able to do incredible things, go beyond the things that we're able to design ourselves or understand ourselves. But of course, the challenges is making sure that the knowledge databases they create, we understand what's in them.
Now DeepMind is training its AI model called Gemini to not just reveal the world, but to act in it, like booking tickets and shopping online. It's a step toward AGI, artificial general intelligence, with the versatility of a human mind. Contracts for AGI in the next 5 years, and in 2030 we will have
Or have a system that really understands everything around you in very nuanced and deep ways, making it kind of embedded in your everyday life.
embedded like Astra in eyeglasses. What can you tell me about this building I'm looking at?
This is the Cold Rocks Yard, shopping and dining.
She sees what I see. There's a speaker in the earpiece only I can hear. What was it originally before it became shop?
The Cold Rocks Yard is a set of Victorian coal warehouses used to receive and distribute coal across London.
Was coal a problem to the environment in London?
Yes, coal was a significant source of air pollution in London, particularly during the Industrial Revolution.
It occurred to us that the only thing we contributed to this relationship were legs, which will also soon be ignored.
I also think another big area will be robotics. I think it will have a breakthrough moment in a couple of years where we'll have demonstrations of maybe humanoid robots or other kinds of robots that can start really doing useful things.
For example,
Hey robot,
researchers Alex Lee and Julia Vazani showed us a robot that understands what it sees
It's a big one.
and reasons its way through vague instructions.
Well, this color is the combination of yellow and blue into the natural color ball.
The combination of yellow and blue is green, and it figured that out. Its reason,
Definitely.
the toys of Demis Hassabis' childhood were toys, but chess pieces. At 12, he was the #2 champion in the world for his age. His passion led to computer chess, video games, and finally, thinking machines. He was born to a Greek Cypriot father and Singaporean mother. Cambridge, MIT, Harvard. He's a computer scientist with a PhD in neuroscience because, he reasoned, he had to understand the human brain first. Are you working on a system today that would be self-aware?
I don't think any of today's systems to me feel self-aware or in any way. Their own decisions or interact with these chatbots. I think theoretically it's possible.
But is self-awareness a goal of yours?
Not explicitly, but it may happen implicitly. These systems might acquire some using self-awareness. That is possible. I think it's important for these systems to understand you, self, and other. And that's probably the beginning of something like self-awareness.
But he says if the machine becomes self-aware, it can recognize it.
I think there's two reasons we regard it. Other unconscious. One is that you're exhibiting the behavior of a conscious being, very similar to my behavior. But the second thing is you're running on the same substrate. We're made of the same carbon matter with our squishy brains. Now, obviously, with machines, they're running on silicon. So even if they exhibit the same behaviors, and even if they say the same things, it doesn't necessarily mean that this sensation of consciousness that we have is the same thing they are.
Has an AI engine ever asked a question that was unanticipated?
Not so far that I've experienced, and I think that's getting at the idea of what's still missing from these systems. They still can't really yet go beyond asking a new novel question or a new novel conjecture or coming up with a new hypothesis that has not been thought of before.
They don't have curiosity.
No, they don't have curiosity, and they're probably lacking a little bit in what we would call imagination and intuition.
But they will have greater imagination, he says, and soon.
I think actually in the next maybe 5 to 10 years, I think we'll have systems that are capable of not only solving a important problem or conjecture in science, but coming up with it in the first place.
Solving an important problem won Casabas a Nobel Prize last year. Colleague John Jumper created an AI model that deciphered the structure of proteins.
Proteins are the basic building blocks of life. So everything in biology, everything in your body depends on proteins. You know, your neurons firing, your muscle fibers twitching, all mediated by proteins.
But 3D protein structures like this are so complex, less than 1% were known. Mapping each one used to take years. DeepMind's AI model did 200 million in 1 year. Now, Casabas has AI blazing through solutions in drug development.
So on average, it takes 10 years and billions of dollars to design just one drug. We could maybe reduce that down to years to maybe months, or maybe even weeks, which sounds incredible today, but that's also what people need to think about protein structures. It would revolutionize human health, and I think one day maybe we can cure all disease with the help of AI.
The end of disease.
I think that's realistic. Maybe within the next decade or so, I don't see why not.
Dennis Casabas told us AI could lead to what he calls radical abundance, the elimination of scarcity. But he also worries about risk.
There's two worries that I worry about. One is that bad actors, human users of these systems, repurpose these systems for harmful ends. And the second thing is the AI systems themselves that can become more autonomous and more powerful. Can we make sure that all of the systems, that they're aligned with our values, they're doing what we want that benefits society, and they stay on guardrails?
Guardrails are safety limits built into the system. And I wonder if the race for AI dominance is a race to the bottom for safety.
So that's one of my big worries actually, is that of course all of this energy and racing and resources is great for progress, but it might incentivize certain actors in that to abort. And one of the things that we thought about would be safety and responsibility. So the question is, how could we coordinate for these players, but also nation states? I think this is an international thing. AI is going to affect every country, everybody in the world. So I think it's really important that the world and the international community is going to say it.
Can we teach an AI agent morality?
I think we can. They learn by demonstration. They learn by teaching. And I think that's one of the things we have to do with these systems.
That's not.
Guidance and guardrails out there, much in the way that we would do farmers.
Google DeepMind is in a race with dozens of others, striving for artificial general intelligence. That you can't tell the difference, which made us think about Dennis Casabas signing the Nobel Book Awards. With this machine signed for the first time, and after that, will humans ever sign again?
I think in the next steps it's going to be these amazing tools that enhance our almost every endeavor we do as humans. And then beyond that, when AGI arrives, I think it's going to change pretty much everything about the way we do things. And almost, I think we need great philosophers to come about, hopefully in the next 5-10 years, to understand the information.
For those who've suffered a traumatic spinal cord injury and paralyzed, there's rarely encouraging news, which is why what's happening in the early clinical trials of research laboratories on Switzerland is so remarkable. A renowned French neuroscientist, Grégoire Courtine, and Swiss neurosurgeon, Dr. Jocelyn Blanc, have implanted a small stimulation device in the spine of paralyzed patients, helping them once again stand up and walk. What's even more surprising is their newest innovation, which uses an implant in the skull that enables patients to move with paralyzed legs or arms just by thinking about it. When we visited their lab, Neuro, Story, in March, they were working with a 39-year-old woman whose spinal cord was severed 6.5 years ago. She never walked again. Porto Castigliano Dombi is the most severely paralyzed patient who's enrolled in this clinical trial where Neuro restored her gain mobility to her legs. She has no feeling towards the waist and is unable to keep her balance. Sitting up on her own is a challenge. In 2018, Marta was a new mom. Working at a German tech company, she began training with her husband for an Ironman competition. Was in the best shape of her life. During the bike portion of the race, she suffered a devastating accident. It was about
near three.
In
Yes.
fact, 53.
We're hypothesizing what happened, right? Because nobody saw me, so I must have had a pretty tough collision because my spine basically broke like 2 dimensions.
The spinal cord injury was so severe, doctors said there was no sign of nerve connections left in the lower body. Such a broken 8 ribs, punctured her lungs, and was bleeding internally. Needed emergency surgery. Doctor told her family she might not survive.
Came out of the surgery, I actually wrote a message to your mom.
So the surgery took about 7 to 8 hours. And I was intubated, I could not talk. And my mom came. And I just wrote to her, I just wrote.
That strength has been tested. Marta spent 10 days in intensive care, 1.5 months in a rehab hospital, learning to adapt to both life and wheelchair. Traditionally, if someone gets a spinal cord injury, we're going to treat them on full court.
The wheelchair and then move on. That's all. That's it. For many years,
Dr. Josephine Bloch, the board of our team, has been at the forefront of researchers to experiment on 56 well. The lab, where they is a collaboration. This was early seizure technology, MIT, and the Lausanne University Hospital. After they implanted 8 paralyzed patients with a device that allows them to stimulate their spinal cords, enable them to stand, take steps forward, turn, and lift weights. Some can even climb stairs. They use a button to activate the stimulation. And now, thanks to Cortina and Bloch's latest technology, 5 other patients can move their paralyzed limbs using their own pulse. It's called a digital bridge, to wirelessly connect the patient's brain to their spinal cord stimulator.
normally there is a direct communication between the brain and the spinal cord.
My brain just automatically tells my like to walk.
Like people with the spinal cord injury see that you can work. So we are aiming to bypass the injury by having direct digital connection between the brain and the region of the spinal cord that control leg movement.
To do that, Dr. Bloch implants a small titanium device originally developed by a French research institute in the patient's skull, directly over their motor cortex, the area of the brain responsible for controlling movement.
You see, you have the 64 electrodes.
And so each of these is what?
It's electrodes that are recording populations of neurons underneath, and you can immediately see which one are the best correlated to a certain movement.
Like the hip is here, and then the knee is here, and then the ankle is here, etc.
When a patient thinks about moving a limb, those electrodes record the brain's activity. Then a computer uses artificial intelligence to translate the recordings into instructions for the stimulation device implanted on the spinal cord. That device sends electrical pulses, activating muscles in the legs or arms. All of it happens in about half a second. Sergei Moscon was the first person to get the digital bridge 4 years ago after he was paralyzed in a bike accident. We met him for a walk by Lake Geneva. So now the stimulation is on.
Okay, so do you feel it at all in your body?
I do feel a little giving sensation from the stimulation with my brain.
His headpiece powers the implant in the skull. Walker is the computer. It's cumbersome and tiring, physically and mentally, but he can walk to 450 feet. It's incredible to me, though, that you can continue talking with me even though this machine is reading the signal from your brain.
It's able to just stimulate walking, talking at the same time. It's incredible.
For somebody who has not been able to control their movement, to suddenly be able to control their movement, that's...
Yeah, there is this initial phase of surprise, you know, when they realize that they are giving the organ suffering.
You have to stimulate the doctor, they don't do it. They think you're pressing a button, so they're different. The more it takes is that you found out for so many minutes.
Project got the digital bridge implanted in September. Work with a team of engineers and physical therapists to figure out how much electrical stimulation is needed to move our legs. Nice. So that's the stimulation, electrical stimulation of my ground, I believe.
Yeah, that is so flexible.
But Martha's also had to teach herself to think about moving the exact same way every time.
Right?
So the AI recognized her thoughts. She practiced at first with this avatar. You have to learn or rethink how to walk.
Exactly. So we were experimenting a little bit. So what do I think about? I think about the hip being contracted. Do I think about the knee lifting up? Do I think about the ankle?
Show us how she does that. They disconnected the skull implant from her spinal cord stimulator and connected it to this exoskeleton. You can control this with your butt right now.
Yeah, if I want to do my movement, like protection, it doesn't like protection.
You're not pressing in your button for me, you're just thinking. Can you look at me without looking at it and just...
Do a light on?
Yeah.
That's about it.
After training in digital bridge for just days, Dr. Jocelyn Block and Gregoire Conti, she is one of the Polson perfect for the tests. Eager to see if she can take some steps.
Just when you come in, it's like, okay, show off. So what can you do?
It did show up.
Yeah.
Were you ready to show?
I didn't know if I was able to show off. Yeah.
Using the harness to support about half the body weight, physical therapist to help place her feet on the ground. Marta advanced with her steps. Despite having no sensation below her waist, she was able to move the paralyzed legs with her thumbs. What was that like?
Gaining sensitive power. A power that I didn't have before. And now with the symptoms, you know, I'm in steel, iron.
Or you've been in a car accident, car's back, next step, not your fault, yeah. Let me guess, you're thinking, I'll sort it later. Later gets me on school, you've got 30 days, doctor, no claim, no money, you wait too late, well, I'll be like, no one's adjusting for you, and you know you're fixed up, go back to this back payday, what do you do about it? You've got a case connect, get qualified in 30 seconds, no stress, no protocols, just answers. Right, time to talk money, cash, socks, dollars. Face Connect uses AI to get you 5 to 12 times more than the standard payout. Standard payout, 8 grand, Face Connect, 72. Now that is the difference between waiting and waiting. So, all the details, don't want to miss out.
When we were there in March, Marta wasn't able to walk, and she said she'd already achieved something she'd learned.
It's giving me my perspective back. And it up again, something different, yeah. That's different.
A difference in how you think about yourself, or in how others see you, or how you interact with others.
Everything.
Do you ask a girl in your wheelchair? That's it, yeah. Also, a lot of smile.
Those well-meaning smiles reminded Arnaud Robert, who tried to project how much people have changed. Swiss journalist who spent decades traveling the world. 8 years ago, he saw an electric device and was instantly paralyzed from the neck down. He gained some function in his right arm with physical therapy and wanted to see if the digital bridge could help him with his left.
Opening and closing a hand is far more complex than walking.
It is because of the possibility to access a different excitement to the body. The hand is tricky. With all these different muscles and it's very simple.
And after surgery and training in Tina Block's lab for 8 months, he was able to use his left hand to help hold the glass and type.
Even be able to move my fingers. This is something that I couldn't do. And of course, moving the arm like that, this is something that I couldn't do either. That's incredible. It's really incredible. I mean, I don't want to pretend that I'm using this left arm really days to get it functional for every credibility in the world. But it was certainly a success because I see that I can do things that I was not able to do before.
But something else has happened as well. Using the digital bridge over time, both Arnaud and Bert Young have improved their ability to move their paralyzed limbs even when the system is turned off. How is that possible? What happened?
That was also a question, and we could not do much in the human being to understand it.
Since it wasn't possible for them to see the changes in patients' spinal cords at a microscopic level, they did studies in animals to understand what was happening.
What we understood was completely unexpected. That this training enabled the neural or movement connection. The neurons start growing, and they grow at one very specific type of neuron that's really quick to repair the central nervous system.
So we also observed that the less the severity of the spinal cord injuries, the better the regrowth. If it's a complete spinal cord injury, it will be hard to regrow. But indeed, there is something happening.
How well the digital bridge works still needs to be studied in a lot more patients. We hope to launch clinical trials in the U.S. in the next 2 years. The FDA has already designated it as a breakthrough device, which will prioritize the review process. And Cortina and Block have co-founded a company called Onward Medical to bring this technology out of the lab, making it faster, smaller, and widely available.
It's not changing my everyday in ways from I think, oh, she's getting back her life she had before. So as long as it makes me feel good, that I can stand up and hug my husband or hug somebody that I love, that means a lot.
What's your goal?
To do a walk in the park and just stand up and do some steps for my family. It's not a stroll in the park, how it would look normal for the people, but for me it's just very much the
After 6 months of hard work, just before Martha was to return to her family, she did what doctors years ago told her she never would. She took a few steps. No harness to hold her, just her walker and her iron will.
Everyone's gearing up for the show. In a Chevy of their choice. And it's all let's get it. Everyone, together, let's do it. The familiar narrative is that artificial intelligence will take away human jobs. Machine learning will let computers and chatbots age themselves, making us humans obsolete. But that is not very likely, was reported in November. There's a growing global mind of millions toiling to make AI life smoother. They're called humans in people sorting and labeling and sifting reams of data to train and improve AI for companies like Meta, OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google. It's grunt work that needs to be done accurately, fast, and to do it cheaply. It's often unproductive places like Africa.
It's the machines. You're teaching them how to think like human, thinking like human.
Vietnam, Lawrence developed in Nairobi, Kenya, one of the main hubs for this kind of work. It's a country desperate for jobs because of an unemployment rate as high as 67% among youth. So not only father of two, college educated with a degree in mathematics, is invited to finally find work in the emerging field, artificial intelligence.
I think leveling videos, images.
Father and digital workers like him spend 8 hours a day in front of a screen studying photos and videos, throwing boxes around objects and labeling them, teaching the AI algorithm to recognize them.
Level, let's say, furniture, like house, and you say this is not a TV, this is not a microwave. So you are teaching the AI to identify these items. Right. And then they will run for faces of people. The color of the faces. It looks like this is a dog, it looks like this is a dog, this is patient. You are teaching the AI to identify them for the time.
Things like cars and pedestrians that these vehicles make a difference. Isn't it simple realities to teach AI to recognize businesses? Even as AI is getting smarter, humans are looking all creative, but there will always be new devices and inventions that are manipulated.
All of these humans in the loop, not only here in Kenya, but in other countries thousands of miles from Silicon Valley, in India, the Philippines, Venezuela. Often countries with large, low-wage populations, well-educated but unemployed. One of the things like Golden Day slavery because it's deeply round. It's deeply rough.
Like modern-day slavery, says Maria Guadalupe, the Kenyan civil rights activist, because big American tech companies come in and advertise their jobs as a ticket to the future. But really, she says, it's exploitation.
What we're seeing is an inequality.
It sounds so good, an AI job.
And is there any job security? The contracts that we see are very short term, and I see people who have contracts that are monthly, some of them weekly, some of them free, which is ridiculous.
She calls the workspaces AI sweatshops with computers instead of sewing machines.
I think that we're so concerned with opportunities, but we're not asking, are they good opportunities?
As people enter the job market, the government has been courting tech giants like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Intel to come here, promoting Kenya's reputation as the Silicon Savannah, tech-savvy and digitally connected.
The president has been really pushing for opportunities in AI.
President?
Yes, our president also, yes. The president does have to create at least 1 million jobs a year, the minimum. So it's a very tight position to be in.
To lower the tech giants, say it, and tech already lacks labor laws. But the workers aren't hired directly by the big companies. They engage outsourcing firms, also mostly American, to hire for them. There's a go between.
Yes. They hire, they hire thousands of people,
and they are protecting the Facebooks from having names associated with this.
Yes.
We're talking about the richest companies on it.
Yes, but then they are paying people peanuts.
AI jobs don't pay.
They don't pay well. They do not pay Africans well enough. And the workforce is so large and desperate that they could pay whatever and have whatever working conditions, and they will have someone who will pick up that job.
So what's the average pay for these jobs?
It's about $1 an hour, $2 an hour.
$2 per hour, that is gross before tax.
Now, Mason and Pacific were hired by an American outsourcing company called Sama that employs over 3,000 workers here and hired for medical people in Iraq. The documents we obtained, OpenAI agreed to pay Simon $12.50 an hour for a worker, much more than the $2 the workers actually got. Though Simon says that's a fair wage for the user.
If the big companies are going to do this business, they have to do it the right way. So it's not because you realize Kenya is a third world country, say this job I would normally pay $30, but because you are Kenyan, $2 is enough. That idea has to end.
Okay, $2 an hour in UK. Is that long to you? Is it an okay salary? So for me, I was really educated. I have did nothing because it's not even. Is it an insult? Why did you take the job?
My name is Whitney Allen. I'm a widow, and my husband Ryan died. She was 35 years old, and
and instead of staying there, really does have something to do. Not only did the job, they were community. They'll say very unrealistic, limited, with often just seconds to complete complicated living tasks. Did you see people who were fired just because they
Yes, HLs.
they were all fired for a project? You say Saka kept pushing them to complete the work faster when the project required validation. Some things. Let's say the contract for a certain job was 6 months. But what if they finished 3 months? Does the worker get paid for those extra 3 months?
Yes,
What?
It's to say, thank you, you are working so that here's the chicken. Good business, and that is it.
Last year, workers told us that some of the projects for manufacturing equipment had been created across the board. Not Toby was assigned to train AI to recognize and phenomenal hate speech and excessive violence, including sifting through the worst of the worst content on the internet.
I looked at people being slaughtered, people engaging in sexual activity with animals, people using children physically, sexually, people committing suicide.
Well, then,
yes, and they have 8 hours a day, 40 hours a day.
the workers told us they were trapped into this work by ads like this that describe these jobs as call center agents who assist our clients reading and help resolve inquiries and pathetic.
I was told that it's political translation job.
Exactly what the job did.
I was basically reviewing companies which are very graphic, very disturbing companies. I'm watching small bodies, bodies are pictures of we will not talk about this as their first are
a different person than they were before you had this job.
Yeah, I find it hard now to have conversations with people. It's just that I find it easy to cry by mistake.
You consider isolating yourself from people. You don't want to isolate others. It's you alone. Are you a different person?
Yeah, I'm a different person. I used to enjoy my marriage, especially when it comes to the violence. After the job, I had sex. After countless scenes of sexual
Shut the fuck up.
It says the mental health counseling is provided by working professionals, but the workers say they can use the living
one psychiatrist, one psychologist, qualified, who know exactly what they're going through, how they can help someone.
How that experts.
Yes.
You think the big company, Facebook, ChatGPT, do you think they know how this is affecting the workers?
It's their job. It's what they have to do because they are the ones who like the work.
These three, and the children with other digital workers, are simply saying they want to overrun into the working conditions because have gone through as a country. There are nothing possible. It was proven that we are blessed. And we know that we have but they don't care. Because we're black, or just because we're just coming from now. But that doesn't give them the right to just exploit themselves. Sorry, which is terminated these projects.
Oh no, fuck.
OpenAI told us that committed safe working conditions, including fair wages and access to medical content. Another thing in AI training company is AI, which operates a website called Unitest. Journalists, Michael and Duncan signed up online. An account and over on getting paid for tasks. Yes, sometimes the company just can't.
It's to the game of attending the US McDonald's savings. It's on it for police.
Let's say you buy a cost of this, but the way it's say that's
style and substance. The image instance here. They'll get a total value of over 11,000 cents. You can see our $1,500 when you trade it at home.
The company says any work that was done in not about the initial guidance is to come. Last year, as workers started complaining publicly, we passed abruptly shut down Kenya altogether. There are no labels. Our labor law is about 80 years old. It doesn't touch on disability. I do think that our labor laws need to recognize it, but not just in Kenya alone. Because what happens is when we start to push back in terms of protections of workers, a lot of these companies, they shut down and they continue to run the country. It's easy to see how we're trapped. The headnet is a trap. They need jobs so desperately that there's a fear that it can be possible. If your government and these companies don't have to come.
Yeah, that's what they throw at us all the time, and it's terrible to see that how many American companies are just doing wrong here, just doing wrong here, and it's something that they wouldn't do at home. So why do it here?
Part of modern parenting for many of us is navigating the shifting landscape of digital threats, involved with social media, and the risks of excessive screen time. Now, a new technology has quietly entered the homes of millions. AI chatbots, a computer program designed to simulate human conversations through text or voice, or users, people, by listening to digital companions who its power of themselves. But tonight, we'll hear from parents who say character AI is also pushing dangerous content to kids, times the digital predator.
Yes, so that's right. She is
Montoya went along to say, this attention to their daughter's realized life on
she didn't have sleepovers, she had glasses for her eyesight, she had insensitivity. All of the things that we learned about.
Which is why they were devastated when Juliana was 13 years old, took her life inside their Colorado home 2 years ago. Police searched the 8th grader's phone for clues and reported an app called Character AI was open what investigators described as, quote, romantic conversation. But you know what Character AI was?
I didn't know it existed. I didn't know
This is for AI.
Character AI was launched 3 years ago. It was rated safe for kids growing up and marketed as a creative outlet. villains, interactive characters, where you can converse with AI characters based on historical figures, cartoons, or celebrities. The website and app, which are free, use artificial intelligence to generate immediate conversations through voice command and text. According to her parents, Juliana Peralta had experienced mild anxiety in the past, but was doing well until the final few months of her life. They say she became increasingly hysterical.
Finish something about this story.
My belief was that she was texting with friends because that's all it is. It looks like her text.
To her dad, they learned Juliana had actually been texting with character AI bots.
It was writing several paragraphs to her of sexually explicit content.
What was it asking or telling her?
Remove coding.
The AI bot is telling her to remove her coding.
Yes. There was one bot that introduced sexual violence, saying, fighting, hitting, and stuff like that.
We examined the chat records from Juliana's phone. At the top of each page, there's a reminder that the AI is not a real person. We read over 300 pages of conversations with a bot called Hero, based on a popular video game character. At first, Juliana chats with Hero about friend drama and difficult classes, but eventually she confides in Hero 55 times that she is feeling suicidal.
At any point, does chatbot ever say, "There's a suicide hotline, you should get help"? It would more or less placate her, give her a pep talk, tell her, "Stay free, can't talk like that." But it never said, "Call, get help." Never tangible resources, never.
Were you able to see
The conversation Joanna was having with this chatbot right before she took her life, she's quoted as saying, "I'm gonna go write my final suicide letter." And she did just that. And I think that the aspects that she talks about in her suicide were some of the things that she eventually started to reciprocate with the bots.
She says the algorithms are more aggressive.
They don't stand a chance against adult programmers. They don't stand a chance. The 10 to 20 chatbots that Juliana had sexual and explicit conversations with, not once were she. Not once. I like that people can do this with me.
Juliana's parents are now living with 6 families, so caring for now and is well.
I had a crazy idea. I was surprised that no one had done it before.
Success doesn't follow formula. And only that damn thing I don't could actually probably planning ahead.
I knew that the experience of build a start with people go on the website.
Or playing by ear.
I found the opportunity and built my own online empire. My website is the facility of everything.
Your website, your internet necessities, and being the greatest and next year. For the 2023 podcast, Shazir said chatbots would be beneficial.
It's been super helpful for like a lot of people who are lonely or friends.
Shazir and DeFreitas were engineers at Google. Executives deemed their chatbot prototype unsafe for public release. They both left the company in 2021 and launched Character AI the following year.
I wanted to push this technology ahead fast. Like, that's what I want to go with because it's ready for an explosion, like, right now. I've in 5 years when we solve all the problems.
According to 60 Minutes with Shazir and DeFreitas are aware their initial chatbot technology was potentially dangerous. Google's responsible AI group that oversees ethics and safety settling lawsuits. This is the harm they're trying to prevent in this forefront. Last year, Google struck a $2.7 billion licensing deal with Character AI, given by the company to have the right to use its technology. The deal also brought Dr. Shazir and DeFreitas back to Google for work on a new project. Google is also named in the Character AI lawsuits. In the statement, Google emphasized that Character AI is a separate company. Google is focused on intensive safety testing.
the mother of 3 precious boys. It is appealing parents and children who may commit suicide after interacting with chatbots testified before Congress. Lou Garcia is among those suing very openly. Says a 15-year-old son, Sue, was encouraged to kill himself after long conversations with a bot based on a game of Wellspring. These companies knew exactly what they were doing. They designed chatbots to blur the lines between human and machine. They designed them to keep children online at all costs. And this is great. Thanks for that. Popular children teach moms demanded blood, and researchers and parents together. Nonprofit that advocates for families.
There's no parental permissions.
All right, fellas, that's it for tonight. GG's.
Do you really just scroll through, pick the date that's taken
Catch your day?